Hey everyone! I've created a new channel to explore even more amazing stories, which will also serve as a backup channel. I love to have you all in joining me on this new adventure. Channel link is in the description. Now back to the recap. Remian is a stone that has been passed down only to the eldest son of the Bertran family for generations. It shows its effect when cut in half. It takes several days of effort, but its color turns black, and then the life of the stoneholder is endangered. Rueli thought His Excellency wielded it with ease, so I thought it would be light, but it is not. My hand feels sore, but it's fun. Before the Duke helped me out, a blade was only a tool to cut fish or vegetables. He let me wield the Duke's sword. In the ancient language of theology, philosophy, and even piano skills, the daughter of the handyman was capable of more than simple things. You have to meet the Lord's expectations. The Duke's only son, Ethan, came. Rueli asked, "Your Excellency, is there something wrong?" Ethan replied, "I thought something happened to you." Rueli said, "Something incredible happened. I wielded a sword for the first time today. I am not really sure if I can repay the Lord's gratitude." Ethan stated, "Don't think about that. I should have been punished, but I was given this favor. It is my duty to take care of the natives." Rueli asked, "Are you giving this to me?" Ethan replied, "It's nothing much. It is a small thing, but carry it with you because you have a weak purification ability." Rueli thought, "There is no way a stone with purification ability is common." Then she said, "The color is really gorgeous, Your Excellency. I will always keep it with me. Thank you so much." Ethan wished that the color of Remian would never change. He believed that the girl's peace would last for a long time. In the next scene, Ethan shouted, "Don't die, please don't die. I won't ever forgive you if you leave me like this." Then he thought, "They say the only blessing in this world is bloodline. Rueli, you came back to my side covered in blood. I did not come back to see you like this." But to Ethan, his bloodline felt like nothing but shackles to him. The maids shouted, "Hurry up." The doctor spoke, "Your Excellency, if she had come any later, she would have died." Ethan asked, "How is she now?" The doctor replied, "Fortunately, the knife managed to avoid her heart, but the bleeding is too severe. Because of that, her arms and legs are cold, and her pulse is really weak." Ethan stated, "Do whatever it takes to save her. I did not bring you here to hear you say that. Whether it's legal or illegal, or if I have to sell my soul, do whatever it takes to save her. Put your life on the line if you don't want anything bad to happen to your family." The doctor spoke, "There is a procedure that is still in the testing process, but there has been success with tests on dogs and sheep. However, it's unsure whether we can use it on humans. It's a blood transfusion. I need 20 drops of opium, flaxseed oil, and someone who can give Miss Bedivere blood." Ethan said, "I will do it." The doctor told him, "You can't use your blood on a maidservant. This procedure has not been done before. If something happens to you." Ethan stated, "You are wrong. You should not be worried about me. You should be worried about this lady. If you don't want your necks blown away, hurry up and start right this instant." In the next scene, the doctor said, "She managed to get through the critical stage." Ethan replied, "You are doing well." Then he thought, "Dear's energy is coming back to the Remian." Ethan continued, "I will keep an eye on her until she comes to her senses. And what happened to the task I assigned to you?" The head knight replied, "I am looking into it. We are still searching around the carriage in the neighboring villages, but due to the snowfall, finding traces won't be easy." Ethan said, "That jerk couldn't have gone far because of the snow." The head knight asked, "I apologize, but if we find Sir Zenon Clark, what shall we do?" "Shall we kill him?" Ethan replied, "Catch him alive." Then he remembered Rueli saying, "I want to find happiness in my life. Sir Clark is a good person. My father already asked Clark to take care of me. I don't have a choice now, so please allow me to do so." Ethan thought, "Just like Rueli, I probably didn't have a choice either. It would be easy to get her drunk, but she shines too brightly." Rueli lived as a concubine. She was the one who set forth to greet Zenon's parents before marriage. However, the coachman was killed, and Zenon disappeared without a trace. Back in the present time, Ethan shouted, "Call the doctor." "Rueli, have you come to your senses? Even if you leave the castle, the one who stays in the castle. You are always making me worry." The Duke came and stated, "You used my knights without my permission." Ethan replied. A life is at stake. The Duke said, You can't tell me my orders are less important than a woman's life in the middle of the night. You are the only heir who can be my successor. Do you know the meaning of that? I am teaching you that you don't have to pay attention to feudal matters. Ethan replied, This is not a feudal matter. 2 people have already died, and this lady almost died. The Duke stated, Take her out of here. The head knight spoke, Your Excellency, the doctor is here. The Duke told him, There is nothing for you to do here, so return to your position. The doctor spoke, Is not the benevolent Lord responsible for each and every resident, even the life of this tragic young lady? The Duke replied, I will be watching over this. After that, Ethan asked, How is she? Just a moment ago, her lips showed signs like she would wake up soon. The doctor replied, She is still not conscious. She must have moved within her unconsciousness. It seems like she must have bumped her head really badly. I still can't be sure if it will pose a problem for her to wake up. A patient that wakes up from long-term unconsciousness either suffers from hallucinations or is admitted to a psychiatric hospital. We have to wait for Miss Bedivere to wake up. The maids whispered, I am worried that His Excellency will end up hurting his health. It's already the 10th day. The other one replied, It must have been devastating for Miss Bedivere, a lot. Ethan thought, 10 days, while staying by her side, I keep thinking about what to say to her when she wakes up, something that's not cringy. I made up my mind not to say anything serious. Suddenly, Ethan said, You're awake. Ruelli spoke, Sir Clark. Ethan thought, Did she say Clark? And I couldn't say a single word. In the next scene, Ethan asked, What about Clark? Okanel replied, About that, he is defending his son, saying that he would never do that. Ethan asked, Did you get in touch with his cousin? Okanel replied, They also gave a similar reaction, Your Excellency. Also, it seems that her father is not in Lorik. Ethan said, No, there must be an incident that I am not aware of. Then he added, Her father is not a person of Lorik. I can't say for sure when, but I know that Ruelli moved here when she was young. Find out the whereabouts of the people who gave her father work. Also, check if you can hear anything from them at nearby pubs. Okanel replied, Your Excellency, those 2 usually never drink alcohol. Ethan said, They never drink alcohol. Then he thought, That's surprising, for them to stay away from alcohol, when they do all the rough manual labor. Okanel asked, Are you not going to see the lady? Ethan replied, Ruelli needs absolute rest more than anything else. That lady mistook me for Xenon Clark. Even if I were to see her, it would just confuse her even more. Okanel said, But didn't the doctor mention that she needs help from someone she's familiar with? The lady doesn't even know when she ended up here. Would it help if she's just lying down in confusion? Ethan asked, Then how are you telling me to go there and pretend to be Xenon Clark? Suddenly, a maid came and said, I think you should go to see Miss Bedivere right now. After that, Ethan asked, Why are you crying? Ruelli replied, Clark, where is my necklace? I mean, did you see my red crescent-shaped necklace? Ethan replied, I'm taking good care of that, so don't worry. Did you make this fuss all because of that? Ruelli said, I apologize. No one else told me anything. It's a precious item to me. Clark, where is His Excellency right now? I have something to say to him, Ethan said. Ruelli has something to say, so everyone, head out. 8 years ago, there was a horrendous snowfall, all year. There was a drought and a bad harvest. Many people starved to death. Around that time, a girl lived in an abandoned tower. Fadenad asked, Don't tell me you're planning to go to that old mountain again today. Ruelli replied, Yes, father, I will be back soon. The plant that's been shown on the mountain is very effective. When it's applied to a wound that clearly needs stitches, it ends up healing on its own. After that, Ruelli thought, This is the first tree I saw. Is there a wild animal here? It will be best to take a different path. Oh my goodness, so you're all hiding here. After some time, she thought, Sorry, I got a little ambitious. The sun is setting. I have to hurry. Then she thought, The ribbon is gone. I remember tying a yellow ribbon on the way I came from. Ethan came and asked, Who in the world left a mark on my property? Ruelli asked, Who? Ethan said, That's what I want to ask. Who are you to dare step foot into my territory? Ruelli thought, That neat attire and arrogant attitude. He's a noble. What is a noble young master doing here? Then she said, I am Riot Sensei, and thought, I don't want to reveal my real name to someone who doesn't want to introduce themselves. Ethan asked, did you do this? Nodield is Bertran's property. Were you not aware that you're not supposed to leave this on the property? Rueli replied, I tied those to the tree because I didn't want to lose my way. I didn't mean any harm. If I knew it was forbidden, I wouldn't have done it. Ethan asked, what is that in your basket? Give it to me. You might have done something suspicious, so I have to check. Rueli replied, the Lady of Lorik has given all the citizens the right to enter Nodield to hunt. That includes the right to harvest as well. I harvested moderately, and I don't have the obligation to show it to you. It's not like you're the lady. Ethan asked, you are? Rueli replied, since you didn't introduce yourself, I don't know how to address you. Okanel came and asked, young lord, are you okay? Did you get hurt? At this hour, Nodield is filled with hunters, so it's dangerous to be here. Ethan said, how is it possible for me, the young duke, to be scared of the inferior? Rueli thought, young lord, the youngest bloodline of the Bertran family. Then she said, I apologize, young lord, I have committed a deadly sin out of ignorance. Okanel asked, who are you? What are you doing here? Rueli replied, I live in the abandoned tower by the border. Okanel said, oh, then you must be Fadenod's daughter. Ethan said, order the knights to accompany her on her way back down. After that, Ethan asked, how do you know that child? Okanel replied, I heard from Abbott about her. She borrowed all the books to read. She's 12 years old, and she has a great interest in medicine books, which are hard to comprehend even for an adult. On the other hand, Rueli thought, it would have been great if he introduced himself as the young lord. People say he's very cold and sensitive. Once he sees a fault in you, it's over. He won't forgive those who deceive him. It actually might have been a good idea to lie about my name. In the next scene, the boy said, the ointment is really effective. My mother's wounds healed right away. The other medicines are not effective and very expensive. Everyone in the village knows that your medicine is way more effective, and you're not even accepting money for such effective medicine. Rueli replied, I just want to be a citizen that can help people. After that, Rueli thought, it seems like it will be hard to feed all of his younger siblings, yet he gave me this. Then she thought, should I sell all of them and buy pouches to put the ointment in? Suddenly, a person came and said, you must be Rueli. I heard you're good at making medicine. Give me some ointment too. My finger got infected when I was trying to take out a thorn from my palm. Rueli replied, I'm sorry, sir, I'm out of ointment now. The person shouted, I need ointment right now. Rueli replied, it hurts, sir. The person asked, what's in your basket? Are you hiding ointment in there? Hand it over. You're hiding ointment and not giving it to me. Rueli said, let go of me, it hurts. Then she thought, save me, father. Suddenly, a voice came, let go of her hand. The person thought, what is this? Ethan stated, if you say one more word, I will stab you in the throat. The person said, I apologize, young lord, it's nothing, it's just that this young kid lied to me. Rueli said, I did not lie to you. The person said, this wicked kid is learning alchemy and using it. She is making illegal medication and selling it to people. Okanel asked, illegal medicine? The person replied, yes, the fact that she climbs the same mountain every day is already suspicious. She's picking herbs and making medicine out of them. Rueli said, I want to help the people who live by the woods or get wounded by making an ointment that can treat them, but I never accepted money for selling them. Most of the people here can't afford to buy medicine, even if they are sick, so I tried, but I learned from reading medicine books. The people said, that's right. If it weren't for that child, we would be in trouble. The person shouted, now she's a wicked wench. I clearly heard that this wench went to the mountain to pick herbs, make poison, and sell it. People whispered, oh my God, poison, doesn't that mean her father is involved too? Rueli said, that's nonsense, I swear to God, I've never done such a thing. The person again said, that's a lie, she may look like a kid, but she's definitely a witch. Ethan stated, you say she's a witch making evil medicine, yet you want the medicine that she made. Didn't you scream at her to make more? If you were telling the truth, that means you want the medicine this witch made and are planning to sell it. The person replied, "No, that's not it. I would never." Ethan continued, "Not only did you cause a fuss with your exaggeration, but you also attempted to lie to me. Take this man to the labor station." After that, he said, "It's illegal to make medicine for profit without permission. It is also illegal to make poison." Fadenad came and said, "No, what is going on, young lord? I am Rueli's father." Rueli thought, "He found out that I lied about my name. The young lord will never forgive me for lying about my identity." The next moment, Ethan was leaving. Rueli thought, he just left like that. After that, Rueli said, "Father, I think I now understand how scary darkness can be. I won't act on my own from now on." In the next scene, Okanel asked, "Why didn't you ask anything else about that girl who lives in the tower?" Ethan said, "Did you say she's the daughter of a mercenary? Then we'll meet again soon. I'll ask her everything at once, so it's not troublesome." Okanel thought, "I don't understand what he's thinking." On the other hand, Rueli said, "Father, your temperature is too high. I read in a book that long-lasting fevers like this are extremely dangerous." After some time, Rueli thought, "This is the last time. I managed to find you right away. Now it's time to look for Dodo sea tree bark. I must have walked deep into the woods. I didn't leave a trace, and now I don't know the way back, but if I follow this route, I can get down from here." Next scene, Ethan and Xenon are practicing. Suddenly, Ethan thought, "What was that? I think I heard something." In the next moment, his arm was cut by Xenon's sword. Xenon asked, "Young lord, are you okay?" Ethan said, "It's you again. Now you're trespassing on the residence. What are you doing here?" Rueli replied, "I got lost. I was following the moss growing north, and it led me here." Ethan said, "I'm pretty sure I told you that it's illegal to make medicine without permission." Rueli spoke, "Before that, young lord, your arm." Ethan thought, "It's a mess. I should see if this witch has alchemy abilities or not," then said, "Try to treat me." Rueli replied, "But I'm not a doctor." Ethan asked, "Then why are you making ointment when you're not a doctor? Tell me." "Riot Iasenseu," Rueli said, "Young Duke, I have something to tell you. To be honest, I am not Riot Iasenseu. My name is Rueli Bedivere." Ethan stated, "It is not important to me whether you are Riot or Bedivere. Either way, your name doesn't mean much to me. It depends on my mood, not your name, whether I should punish you for trespassing or kill you." Rueli thought, "No matter how much I beg him, it doesn't seem like he will send me back home until I do what he wants." Then she said, "I can't make the ointment with the ingredients I have. I need a few more ingredients." Ethan replied, "Fine, I will supply you with everything you need. If you want to keep living with that name, then you better do your best." After some time, Ethan stated, "Now do it." Rueli replied, "Fasten your shirt. Fortunately, I have moini grass and henal tari, which will ease the pain. I need a spoonful of flaxseed oil and goldbeater's skin." Ethan said, "Prepare all the things she needs." After that, Rueli thought, "His wound is a lot deeper than I expected." Ethan spoke, "I wonder if you can treat me when you get startled over a wound like this." Rueli thought, her father said the god's blessing is not bestowed on just anyone. If the word spreads, then everyone will try to take advantage of it. She continued thinking, "But father, if I don't do this properly, then I will be in grave danger." Ethan thought, just like a dream, the pain disappeared. It's almost as if she used healing abilities. Then he asked, "How did you do it?" Rueli replied, "I usually dry the henal tari, but I was in a rush, so I increased the amount. After that, I ground the moini grass." Ethan said, "No, I'm asking you how you actually did that." Rueli replied, "I just paired the right herbs together to use on the young lord's arm." Ethan grabbed her arm, and Xenon said, "I was watching her make the medicine, but she didn't do anything special. If that kid had used healing abilities, I would have noticed." Ethan stated, "I need to visit the Lord. Keep an eye on her." On the other hand, Samuel spoke, "I sell herbs and medicine." The Duke asked, "What is the problem?" Samuel replied, "I was just going to let it pass as a child's prank, but my livelihood got involved, so I could not stand it anymore. Lord, don't tell me you are planning to give Rueli permission. It is strictly illegal." Because of that child, one person was wrongly accused and got dragged away. The Duke said, I need to meet the chief to find out what is going on. I heard that the effects of the medicine she made are good, is that true? Samuel replied, I'm not so sure about that. There's no way you can call it medicine just because it had 1 or 2 positive reviews. In the next moment, Ethan came in. The Duke asked, Are those bloodstains on your clothes? Ethan replied, It was a bit hectic. I applied the medicine made by the famous child in the village, and it healed quickly. Her name is Rueli. The Duke stated, Samuel, until now, you have been hiding your past, and I have been putting up with your selling. The reason I sold your medicine at a higher price than others was, because I thought your medicine was worth it. Grant Rueli an apothecary license. My son seems to be living proof of the effectiveness of her medicine. Samuel said, But Lord, then what am I supposed to do now? There are 12 family members that I have to feed. The Duke replied, All the people who paid a lot of money to buy the wrong medicine also have families, so get out. Back in Ethan's room, Xenon asked, The young Duke has already perfectly solved the problem, so why are you making that face? Rueli replied, Because I got scared. Xenon said, It doesn't look like you were scared. How the heck did you make that medicine? Rueli replied, I just followed what I saw in a book. Xenon told her, If it were that easy, then doctors and apothecaries wouldn't be paid that much money. Would you make some for me in the future? Rueli replied, If Bertran gets out of trouble. Xenon said, Don't worry too much, I'm not too sure about the young Duke's intentions. Since you've done well, who knows, he might even prepare a feast. He is a person of right and wrong. Okanel came and said, Miss Rueli, there's a place you need to be. I need you to come with me, but it would be difficult with your clothes right now. After that, Rueli asked, Why are you giving me such nice clothes? The maids replied, What do you mean? It's because we are going to meet the Lord. Next scene. Fadenad thought, The day is almost over, yet where could she be? Then the carriage came, and Rueli stepped out of it. She asked, Father, it's cold out. Why are you outside? A knight spoke. The Lord has made an order to escort Miss Rueli. This is the present the Lord gifted to Miss Rueli. She is preparing to step into the Lord's castle, so we had to make some preparations. After some time, Rueli said, These are all given by the Lord. He is really cool and kind. He's not as scary as the rumors say. The Lord asked if I wanted to open an apothecary shop. But I told him I wanted to do more studying, and then he said he would support me so I can study. I am really looking forward to it, Father. Fadenad stated, You are going to the Lord's castle. I am grateful for the offer, but I will reject it on your behalf. Rueli asked, What are you talking about? Fadenad replied, What you experienced today was a dream. No matter how sweet the dream seems, we can't suffer a loss. Rueli said, But Father. Fadenad stated, Enough, if you say one more word, we will leave tonight. On the other hand, Ethan thought, The truth is fascinating, she is a bright child. The Duke said, According to the capital mayor, she is already famous in the village, but her qualifications are skeptical since she did not receive a proper education. Why do you think I am saying all of this? Ethan thought, Could it be to make her my partner? But it would be impossible for the daughter of a handyman to become a duchess if the heavens don't lend a hand. He replied, I am having a hard time understanding your intentions, Father. The Duke stated, It does not matter even if you don't understand, since I will be the one to make the decision. After that, Ethan thought, I am not sure about his opinions, but I know they are not for my sake. All I got from my father throughout my childhood was harsh control and strict discipline. My father wanted the perfect partner to complete the Bertran family. Regaining Loric's honor was the only goal that meant everything to him. At the same time in the tower, Rueli thought, It's a chance that won't come by again. It might even be the last time. If I do this, would it heal broken hearts? If the horse carriage comes tomorrow, then would father not have a choice? He got angry before, but no matter how much I think about it, I just can't understand. He didn't mind doing hard work to send me to the academy, and the Lord is willing to support me, so why? If only he would change his mind tomorrow. I don't want to lose this chance. Back in the present time, Rueli asked, Why am I here? Clark, I want to go home. Please tell His Excellency, why am I in the Lord's castle? Ethan replied, Because this is the safest place. The doctor said you need to be treated in a safe and secure place so that you will recover faster. Scene change. The doctor said, a while ago, there was a similar case like this. The count suffered a severe head injury. After the incident, he kept mistaking that someone was trying to bury him in a tomb. His head injury temporarily caused an illusion. Ethan asked, then the fact that she mistakes me for Clark means that she sees my face as Clark? The doctor replied, yes, and the method they used to help the count was unclear whether it was effective. However, every time he was corrected, he would be very puzzled, and a headache would follow after. Ethan asked, is there a way to bring them back to normal? The doctor replied, Miss has not recovered, so it would be best to approach with caution. In my opinion, if she were corrected, she would be extremely confused. Now back in the present time, Rueli asked, that day, what in the world happened? You were with me. Please tell me, Ethan thought. I can't believe that I have to pretend to be Clark for Rueli's sake. Then he replied, talking about the past won't help you. Rueli said, but the doctor said it would help me if I organized my memory, so please help me. Who was the one that saved me? Was it you? Ethan replied, that's right, everything is unclear, but one thing for sure is that you are safe now. Besides that, nothing else is more important. Rueli asked. The Bertran Duke, Rueli, said he must be very busy. Ethan replied, it seems like that is the case. Rueli said, as if that could be it. Your behavior is really disrespectful. Ethan replied, I have been very busy these days, so I could not sleep properly. Rueli stated, are you using that as an excuse? You really disappoint me. Be more careful in the future, Ethan thought. I'm not sure who the disrespectful one is right now, and replied, I will be careful. Rueli said, and one more thing. It feels like you are pretending to be His Excellency right now. Ethan thought, what? Rueli spoke, it seems like I'm not the only one who got injured. Your attitude seems arrogant, just like the way the Duke would talk. Ethan thought, arrogant. Then he said, come in. Rueli said, oh gosh. Ethan said, you may come in. Okanel came and spoke, Clark, sir, you need to be on your way right now. After that, Ethan asked, am I arrogant? Okanel replied, I'm not sure about that, Your Excellency, but why are you suddenly asking that? Ethan said, nothing. A few years ago, a maid said, apparently, the Duchess is unwell, but no one knows why. Even the most well-known doctors can't help her. Rueli asked, how is she unwell? The maid replied, her blood circulation doesn't reach her lips, and she can't sleep well. She spends the whole day lying down. Do you know how to make medicine after hearing the diagnosis? Rueli said, no, I'm just curious. The maid spoke, this is really a secret, but it's unbelievable how much the Lord beats the Duchess, so it's no surprise that she's bedridden like that. Rueli asked, the Lord? The maid replied, yes, if the Duke does something wrong, he doesn't punish him directly. He points an arrow at his wife, but it's not like the Duke has made a grave mistake. Because he's not the type to do such a thing, so the Lord tries to find trivial flaws and punishes him for it. Rueli asked, the Lord was not a good person. Then she thought, it must be frightening, if his mother gets punished whenever he does something wrong. I would hate that. Is the Duke okay? The maid asked, is your father still adamant about not letting you into the castle? Rueli replied, no. Then she remembered Fadenad asking, will you try to starve yourself to death? All right. I give in. I will give you permission. On the other hand, the teacher said, let's stop here for today. What are you going to do now? Ethan replied, I'm not going to do anything. The teacher said, you must not do nothing. It will eventually become difficult to find a partner if you don't focus on looking for one and only focus on your studies. After that, Ethan thought, even today. Then he remembered his father saying, are you not aware of how important classes are, for a child to focus on such pointless things when you have an important class? Ethan replied, Mother did not call for me. I was just worried about her because I only heard reports about her. Father stated, because your heart was wavering, you messed up in your class. Since your mother can no longer give birth to another child, that makes you the only heir to succeed my throne. Ethan replied, I was not wasting my time. It is not too late to attend class. I have no intention of being late. Father asked, what? Mother said, Your Grace, I have done wrong. Don't blame the child, it is all my fault. Father stated, if you are aware that it's your fault, then hurry and go to the nursing home. Don't use that pitiful illness to waver the child. In the next scene, Ethan thought, if I don't act, if I can't become strong, then it's pointless to worry about anyone else. Did my father put someone to stalk me? I need to find out who my father's dog is. Then he asked, what are you doing here? Turn around. What are you trying to hide behind you? Rueli replied, it's nothing. Ethan said, you were like this when we first met. As I said before, you may have done something suspicious, and I have the right to check. Rueli responded, let me explain, Your Excellency. I heard that the Duchess is ill, that she has no energy, and her complexion is pale. I found something good for her. It's tea made from polio flowers. If she drinks this, she will sleep like a bear hibernating in the winter. Ethan said, it's fine, go back. Rueli pleaded, Your Excellency, just like the time when you believed in me. Please trust me one more time. Ethan replied, even the best doctor in the capital could not help her. That tea will not be of any help to her, go back. Rueli said, please give me a chance. I can help the Duchess. Ethan thought, why is she being so stubborn? She has never met my mother before, and it's not like she received help from her. Don't tell me, Father. He's trying to use this child to harm her. Then he asked, who ordered you? Rueli replied, no one ordered me. I wanted to help the Duchess. Ethan stated, there is no need for you to do so. I said go back at once. Don't act out of your place. There is a limit to the rudeness I can withstand. Just because you have been allowed in the castle does not mean that you get to do as you please. You are still the daughter of a handyman. If I catch you wandering around here one more time, what is that? Why is she crying? After that, Rueli thought, this is not why I came here. I have done something pointless. What can I do? A maid asked, what are you doing here? Rueli replied, I heard that the Duchess is unwell, so I thought maybe I could help her. Then she thought, wouldn't it be all right if I ask the maid that serves the Duchess? Rueli spoke, would you hand this to the Duchess? It's tea that induces sleep. I heard she can't sleep well at night. I can try offering it to her, but I'm not sure if she will drink it. Afterward, she thought, thank goodness, I was able to find help. Please, I pray that the Duchess will be able to sleep at ease tonight. The next morning, Ethan looked out the window and thought, the person by Mother's side is, that crazy girl is lingering beside Mother again. I need to tell her off. On the other hand, Rueli spoke, all of the monsters disappeared into the hole, without a trace. The Duchess asked, what happens when you go into the devil's hole? Rueli replied, no one knows, because there hasn't been a single survivor. That's really scary. The Duchess told her, I guess it's always best to be careful so you don't get dragged into anything. Rueli thought, she is really gorgeous. Did my mother also look like this? The Duchess asked, how could you tell such interesting stories? It was so funny that I almost got dizzy. How did you make that tea? After drinking it, I slept really well. Rueli replied, I saw it in a book. The Duchess asked, can I ask you for it from time to time? Rueli answered, of course. You can count on me. The Duchess said, but I can't accept such precious tea for free, so what would be suitable? Would you like to learn piano? I will teach you. At that moment, Ethan came in and asked, Mother. Rueli thought, oh my God, wasn't he in the middle of class? Ethan spoke, the weather is cloudy. Mother, how is your body feeling? The Duchess replied, I am fine. I have a warm child keeping me company. With the tea that Rueli gave me, I was able to rest well after such a long time. I don't even know how long it's been since I woke up to the chirping sounds of birds in the morning. So, I have asked her to make me that tea so I can drink it anytime. It will be pretty troublesome, but I will also be very grateful, Ethan said. That's wonderful. If you two are done conversing, may I borrow this child? After that, he said, I'm pretty sure I gave you a warning not to approach the Duchess. What were you thinking when you did that? Are you defying me? Rueli replied, no, I would not do such a thing to the young. I am sorry. Ethan stated, as long as you understand, I will let it pass this one time since the Duchess liked it. In the first place, Rueli, you are too arrogant. You are always busy running around here and there, causing trouble. Rueli thought, what should I do? It will be fine as long as I make it back quickly. Ethan continued, If you wish to work in the palace in the future, then you have to be more cautious of your actions. Then he thought, she ran off like a foal. If she gets on my nerves once more, all I have to do is chase her down. After some time, Okanel came and asked, what is wrong with the sky? It's been raining since morning. Ethan asked, how did you know I was here? Okanel replied, the Duchess asked me to look after you. I did not think that the young Duke would leave the young girl he brought here to go back alone, soaked in the rain. Ethan thought, let a young girl that I brought here go back herself, all soaked in the rain. Then he saw the Duchess and thought, I will not disappoint the Duchess. After that, Ethan thought, what are these tracks? On the other hand, Rueli spoke, I will go back when the rain gets lighter. Will I get scolded by the young Duke for disappearing without a word? Ethan said, I knew this would happen, so I came to bring you back. What in the world are you doing here? Answer me right away. Rueli replied, Duke, what I did here was. Ethan asked, it's probably because of the herbs you're holding. Rueli asked, how did you know that? Ethan replied, because you're holding them as if they're important items. Wouldn't it be more strange not to know? I'll say this first, but I'm not angry right now. I just want to hear the reason behind why you did this. Rueli spoke, let me explain. As you said, I came here to dig for herbs. This herb is called OMUE, and it's a medicinal herb. It will be helpful to mix into the tea I make for the Duchess. I don't have any more left, so I was worried, but when I was walking in the garden with you, I saw the herb in the corner, Ethan said. So that's why you left while I was in the middle of talking. Rueli replied, yes, I thought that you wouldn't give me permission if I asked. I was planning to gather a few and then return as soon as possible, but it started raining, and then I lost track of time while I was trying to gather as many of them as I could. When I finally returned to the place where we separated, you weren't there, and the rain wasn't stopping. I was planning to wait here until the rain stopped. I definitely didn't wish to put you in a foul mood. I apologize. Then she thought, I'm going to get scolded a lot. I might even get kicked out of here. Ethan asked, what are you looking at? I'll lead the way back to the palace, so follow me. Rueli replied, yes. After that, Ethan asked, about that OMUE herb. Tell me more about it. Rueli then started telling him all the details about the herbs. After some time, she said, I'll carry the umbrella for you. Ethan replied, it's fine, we're almost at the palace. There's no need to worry. Are you planning to hand me the herbs and get me covered in dirt? Rueli replied, I'm sorry. Ethan spoke, it's fine. Then he thought, jokes don't work on this kid. Then he said, ask the wet nurse for clothes to change into. Rueli replied, thank you so much, young Duke. Ethan thought, I need to head back too. Next scene, Xenon spoke, I haven't seen Rueli for the past few days, and she hasn't been coming to class. Ethan asked, if that's so, why does that matter? Xenon said, I just wanted to tell you. Ethan replied, that's unnecessary. After some time, a maid spoke, yes, I have verified it. Rueli has disappeared. Okanel replied, she did not participate in the horse riding class. Couldn't she have just gone home? The maid said, she's not the type that would skip class without saying a word. Ethan came and asked, is something wrong? What did Berdivier do this time? Okanel said, you don't have to worry about it, I'll tell you directly. The maid spoke, Rueli has not been seen since this afternoon. Without any reason, she didn't participate in her afternoon class. This is the first time this has happened. Something must have happened to her. Okanel asked, would you like to join us in looking for her? Ethan replied, no, this isn't enough to make a fuss over in the palace. Okanel and I will be enough. The maid asked, young master, can I search with you too? Ethan replied, all right. Let's divide the areas and search from there. After that, Ethan thought, this is where the morning class took place. Nothing seems to be out of the ordinary, and yet, there has to be something. When he opened the box, Ethan thought, did she fall asleep in here while playing hide and seek? He said, get Ruel. The next moment, Ethan thought, fever. After that, the maid asked, what happened? Let me carry her. Ethan replied, this isn't a weight you can carry. She has a fever, bring something to cool it down. The maid spoke, I'll prepare a nearby room. Ethan stated, it's fine. From here, my room is the closest. In the next scene, the maid said, I've finished the emergency treatment. Ethan told her, you may leave, then asked, what could have happened? Okanel replied, I haven't heard anything special in the palace. Ethan said, it'll be a hassle if the Lord finds out about this. Make sure you take care of it well. Okanel replied, yes, as you wish. I've secretly informed her father to come to the palace. Ethan told him, all right, notify me when he arrives. I'll talk to him directly. Next scene, Ethan asked, are you awake? Don't get up. You need to stay in bed. Rueli replied, yes, my lord. Then thought, what is he doing? The next moment, she thought, it's so cold. Ethan's nanny came and introduced herself, then asked, who put this drenched towel on your forehead? It must have been his lordship. I can try to look after you, but he was a little lacking. Ethan asked, anyhow, why were you hiding inside that chest? Rueli replied, was I hiding inside a chest? Ethan asked, you don't remember? Rueli replied, no, I stood up to go to my writing lesson, but I suddenly felt so dizzy, so I sat down on what I thought was a comfortable chair. I don't remember what happened after that. Ethan said, that's not a good enough explanation. Rueli replied, I'm sorry. The nanny said, there's no need to try and force her to remember things. It's not something she must absolutely know, is it, my lord? Ethan replied, no, it is not. The nanny continued, then why don't we all enjoy a nice cup of tea? After that, Ethan said, you are to stay at the castle and rest until you have fully recovered. Rueli replied, it's just a cold, my lord. I will just go home and rest. Ethan stated, but I heard you haven't been around for the last few days because you've been doing just that. I heard you were being stubborn about attending your lessons even though you had a fever. Rueli asked, wait, how did you hear about that? Ethan replied, your father told me, of course. Rueli asked, did he say anything else? Ethan replied, he said he would punish his daughter for disappearing after promising to stay at home while he worked. Rueli said, he must be really angry. Ethan spoke, but there was no real anger behind his words. I have heard far worse. That's enough for today. Please escort Rueli to a room where she can rest until she recovers. The nanny asked, do you think you can stand up? Rueli replied, yes, madam. Then she thought, that's right. His lordship and his grace are not on good terms. It felt like he was finally starting to open up to me, but things have gotten awkward again. He was acting the same way he always did. So why does my heart ache so much while watching him? Next scene, the maid asked, why are you singing so much? Rueli replied, I'm just really bored. The maid said, I understand, lying in bed all day for 2 days does sound boring. Rueli told her, I'm all better now. The maid replied, still, you should rest for at least 1 more day. After all, you wouldn't want to worry his lordship anymore. Rueli asked, are you teasing me right now? The maid replied, if you're good, I'll go and borrow some books from the library for you this afternoon. Rueli said, really, thank you. Zenon came and said, I heard she was ill, so I wanted to pay her a visit. How are you feeling? Rueli replied, I'm fine. Zenon said, I brought you a gift because I thought you might be bored. Open it. Rueli replied, wow, they're so pretty. What are these? They look like jewels. Zenon told her, it's called candy. It's a sweet treat that's become popular recently in the capital. You're supposed to let it melt in your mouth. What do you think? Rueli replied, wow, I've never had anything so sweet in my life before. Zenon said, my younger siblings love candy so much that they come running at the sound of it. Rueli said, I'm jealous. I've always wanted lots of siblings because I grew up alone. Zenon replied, people who don't have siblings often say that, but they're better off without them. Rueli asked, are you not on good terms with your siblings? Zenon replied, no, the issue is more like we're too close to each other. I think it might be difficult to understand unless you have siblings. Rueli said, if I had a younger sibling, I would take them to the market and buy them delicious food. On the other hand, Okanel spoke. Zenon seems to have paid Miss Rueli a visit. They spoke briefly while he was there. Ethan stated, I thought only a few people knew the fact that Rueli was recovering in the castle. Okanel replied, there's a chance he heard it from some of the maids. Ethan said, knowing Zenon, he probably didn't have any ulterior motive in approaching that girl. Okanel replied, I'll be sure to remind the maids to be more careful. Ethan said, as for Rueli, let's have her stay here for 2 more days before we send her home. After that, the maid asked, wow, what are all these? Rueli replied, books, of course. The maid continued, the reason you asked for that handcart was to use it to move the books back to the library. I'll help you. I don't think you can do this on your own. With me helping you, we'll be done in no time. By the way, I only brought 2 or 3 books. Where did you get the rest? Rueli replied, I asked everyone who visited me for help. Even Her Grace and her maids helped me. The maid said, so you got help from basically everyone you know here besides Lord Ethan. Makes sense. He would never help with such a thing. Rueli replied, you never know, he might have if I'd asked him to. After that, the maid asked, are you really happy to be outside? Rueli replied, of course, I've been stuck inside my room for 4 whole days, and the library here is filled with books I've never read before. There are so many that I could spend years there just reading. Look, this smell of books is always so calming. Ethan thought, I won't be able to read peacefully while she's here. Rueli told the maid about all the books and stories. The maid replied, but I don't know how to read. Rueli said, I'm sorry. The maid said, it's fine, I would like to learn, but I think it might be too late for me. Rueli said, then can I teach you how to read? The maid asked, you'd do that for me? Rueli replied, of course. Don't worry, I'm sure you'll learn how to read in no time. After that, Ethan thought, it feels like a storm blew past here. Why is she offering to help, when there's nothing she can gain from teaching a maid how to read? Then again, she's not one to help others for personal gain, so I'll let her be for now. Next scene. The teacher teaches her lessons. Then, in the next class, Ethan noticed, she's learning how to walk elegantly. She's doing pretty well. He put another book on her head, and the next moment, he ran away. After some time, the Duchess spoke, I think I've taught you all that I can on the piano. Rueli, now 16 years old, replied, it's all thanks to your Grace's guidance. The Duchess said, my health has improved greatly due to your care over the last few years, so I've prepared a small gift for you. The next day, Rueli thought about how the Duchess told her, His Grace will be holding a ball to celebrate my recovery. I would be so happy if you wore my gift to that ball. Rueli opened the gift and said, wow, it's so pretty. On the day of the ball, Zenon asked, it's been a while since a party was held here, but you don't seem to be enjoying yourself. Ethan replied, I simply attended as it is a party to celebrate the Duchess's recovery. Zenon asked, might I suggest going somewhere quieter for a moment? Ethan replied, you know that I hate being here while the Duke greets his guests. You seem to have put a great deal of care into your appearance today. Zenon replied, we haven't had a party in so long, so my mother and sister. Ethan said, I see that we are both in the same boat tonight. After some time, Rueli thought, I don't look strange, do I? Now I just need to follow Her Grace's teachings. Relax, act naturally. It feels like I'm in a completely different place. It's the same path I take every day, but everything is sparkling and fancy, which makes it all look prettier than usual. Maybe it's because there are more people here. Hello, sir. I thought I would see you inside, yet here you are. Is there something you wish to say to me? Okanel replied, no, it may be better to hear it from someone else. Please go inside. After that, Rueli thought, I'm nervous because this is my first ball. Suddenly, she was bumped into by a noble lady. The lady said, my apologies, I was a bit too immersed in my conversation. Rueli replied, no, it's fine. I was looking at something else and didn't realize you were behind me. The lady asked, I don't think I've seen your face before. Are you from a noble family? Rueli replied, my name is Rueli Bedivers. I live on the outskirts of the duchy. The lady said, the outskirts of the duchy, so, you're not a noble, just visiting this area, you may leave now. I can't believe a commoner came to His Grace's residence. Rueli thought, it's not like I was at fault in that situation. My ankle hurts. I must have sprained it when I bumped into that woman. I want to go home. Zenon came and asked, why the long face? Did something happen? Rueli replied, no, it's nothing, but thank you for your concern. Zenon said, if you say so, why don't we head outside for some air? This place is a little too stuffy, don't you agree? After that, Xenon asked, this way, watch your step, not many people come this way, so we will be able to enjoy some peace and quiet here, please have a seat. Rueli replied, thanks, then thought, my ankle is feeling so much better now that I'm sitting down. Xenon asked, are you feeling better? You must have been nervous because it's your first party, you looked a little unwell. Rueli replied, I must have been, I'm feeling much better, thanks to you. Xenon said, I'm glad I could be of assistance, it's a fun and extravagant affair, but I don't quite fit in either. Rueli asked, is something wrong? Xenon replied, I'm sorry, my mind just wandered for a moment, I thought about it, and I believe we have a lot in common. Rueli replied, what? I don't believe that's true. Xenon asked, why don't I tell you about our similarities, it may change your mind, both of us live in Lorik, we work for House Bertran, and we are very ordinary people, Rueli said, but you're from an aristocratic family. Xenon said, I don't know if this will change your opinion of me, but the House of Clark holds no land, we are only aristocrats in name. People just call my father a count due to customs, and I was only able to acquire my position as a knight quickly due to the generosity of his grace. I'm an ordinary person, just like you. Rueli replied, you're not ordinary at all, you always work so hard, you're kind to everyone, and you always do your best no matter the task, so, I'm sure the days ahead of you will be filled with good and happy things. Xenon said, I guess I was worried over nothing, I'm feeling much better now, thank you. On the other hand, Ethan asked, how are you, mother? The Duchess replied, I'm fine, there's no need to worry, the ball has been going on for quite some time, but I have yet to see Rueli, do you think something has happened to her? Ethan replied, she's never one to turn down such a kind gesture, I will try to look for her. After that, he asked, is Rueli at the ball? Okanel replied, she just stepped outside with Xenon, my lord, you'll be able to find her in the garden. In the garden, Ethan thought, how am I supposed to find her in such a big garden? Xenon. What was he doing here? Rueli said, my lord, you're here. Then she said, oh no, and asked, what brings you here? Ethan asked, are you hurt? Rueli replied, no, it's nothing. Ethan said, excuse me for a moment, you sprained your ankle, haven't you? Haven't you been having trouble walking? Rueli replied, just a little bit. Ethan said, wrapping it up like this will help a little, you also have other injuries on your heels, is it because of these shoes? Rueli replied, I hurt my ankle when I bumped into someone by accident, as for the shoes, I didn't break them in, so they scratched up my heels as I walked to the castle. Ethan pressed on the shoes, and Rueli shouted, stop that, then she said, my apologies, I should have known this would happen because the shoes were new. I should have walked here wearing an old pair of shoes, and changed into the new ones once I arrived, but I didn't. It's my fault, I'm to blame for this, so please don't ruin my shoes. Ethan said, I won't, but you won't be able to attend the ball, I'll call for a carriage to take you back home. After that, Ethan asked, do you know any good shoemakers? Okanel replied, if you are in need of new shoes, I can order a pair right now. Ethan said, bring me catalogs of women's shoes. Okanel asked, women's shoes, my lord? Ethan stated, yes, bring catalogs from the best shoemakers in the capital as soon as you can. On the other hand, Rueli thought, I've done what I can to fix it, then she looked at both handkerchiefs, lay down on the bed, and smiled. After some days, Rueli thought, what is going on? It's very noisy at the castle. Ethan said, that's enough, you may go and help elsewhere. Then he asked, what are you doing here so early in the morning on a snowy day? Rueli replied, I had a class to attend, is something going on in the castle today? The mood's been a little. Ethan said, people are just busy preparing for the hunt. Rueli asked, the hunt? Even though it snowed so much. Ethan told her, in the winter, beasts from the northern mountains attack humans more often, it's necessary to decrease their numbers with a hunt, before they start hurting the people living in the area. Today is the start of the hunt, and I'll be gone for around a week. Rueli said, let me help you with that, all done, my lord. I made sure that it wasn't too tight, then she asked, won't it be dangerous because of the snow and the beasts? Ethan replied, "There's nothing to worry about, it's like an annual event for us," Rueli said, "but still, be careful." Ethan replied, "Yes, I will. It will be very cold for a few days since it snowed," Rueli asked, "But won't you be cold too?" Ethan replied, "I must go and oversee the preparations for the trip. I hope you study diligently in your classes." Rueli was happy. After that, Rueli thought, they must be about to leave since Her Grace is down there to send them off. Xenon was also there. Ethan looked at him. Then he looked at her. Rueli started waving her hands at both of them. In the next scene, the maid came and said, "Come quick," Rueli asked, "What is wrong?" The maid replied, "It's Lord Ethan, he returned with grave injuries." On the other hand, the doctor said, "This is the best that I can do, Your Grace, we will have to leave the rest up to the heavens." The Duke shouted, "I told you to summon all the priests. Where are they?" The aide replied, "All of the healer priests living in this area have left to attend an event being held in the capital." The Duke shouted, "Then call everyone with divine power, it doesn't matter who it is. We cannot let my one and only heir die." Rueli thought, "Lord." Then she thought, "Will he be all right?" She asked, "How is Lord Ethan doing? These are some medical herbs. I hope they can be useful in treating his lordship." The maid replied, "I don't think medical herbs will be enough to treat the injuries Lord Ethan currently has. Things look grim. One arm and one leg were crushed under a boulder. There is nothing we can do at this moment but pray to the gods." Later that night, the doctor asked, "What are you doing here?" Rueli replied, "I was worried about his lordship." The doctor said, "I see. I am doing my best here, but it has not been easy." Rueli asked, "You seem to be very tired. I can watch over him for a while if you would like to get some rest." The doctor said, "Thank you for your help." After that, Rueli thought, "I wonder how he got hurt. I have a very weak ability to heal and purify, but I've never told anyone about this ominous blessing within my hands. Father said no one must know what I am capable of. Gifts from the gods given to those of lower classes never end up being blessings. If I do as I wish here, Father will be very unhappy with me. He might truly make us move to a place where no one can find us. But his lordship is in danger. I have to heal him." After some time, she thought, "He looks a little better than before. Now I have to change the bandages." Rueli thought, "Thank goodness. Now he's asleep." Lord Ethan's room feels quite dreary. It's filled with nothing but books and papers. What could that be? That was my name written on it. My word, these are so beautiful. After a few days, Ethan and Rueli came outside. Ethan said, "It's so nice to finally be outside, breathing in the fresh air. Thank you for looking after me." Rueli replied, "It was my pleasure. I'm glad that I was able to be of help to you." Then a person came and said, "I am truly sorry, it's all my fault, my lord." Rueli asked, "What happened?" Ethan replied, "It's nothing." The person told them I was going down, but the Lord grabbed me and said, "Be careful." Suddenly, a huge chunk of rock came towards us. I was stunned for a moment. The Lord pushed me away, and the next moment, he was under the rock. My Lord wouldn't have suffered such severe injuries if it weren't for me. I'm truly sorry. Ethan stated, "It's fine, you were dismissed." Then he said, "There's something I want to give you to thank you for taking care of me. Be sure to come to my room before you leave today." Rueli replied, "Yes, I will." In the next scene, Rueli said, "You wanted to see me before I left." Ethan replied, "Yes, come here and have a seat. I'm not sure if they'll fit you, but I happen to acquire these shoes. They're too small for anyone else in the castle to wear. Why don't you try them on?" Rueli thought, "Liar, you didn't get these shoes by chance." Then she said, "They're so pretty, my lord, I'll try them on right now." She then said, "They fit perfectly. Can I really keep them?" Ethan replied, "Yes, of course." In the next scene, the maid said, "Thank you, I can read and write all I want now, thanks to you." Rueli replied, "It's all thanks to your own hard work, I didn't do anything." The maid said, "I'm getting married soon. I received a marriage proposal from a merchant who lives far from here." Rueli replied, "I'm so happy for you. I don't know much about relationships or marriage, but if he's a businessman, that must mean he has a way with words, so I'm sure you'll never feel bored around him." The maid added, There are talks of a proposal for someone else too. Lord Ethan may be getting married soon. There are rumors that it could be the eldest daughter of the wealthy house. Rueli replied, I see, no matter who the Lord ends up marrying, I hope she is a good person. The maid said, and the same goes for you too. I hope you find a good person. You're a very smart girl who shines brighter than anyone I know. I truly want you to be happy. After that, Rueli thought, I am certain he will make a name for himself one day. I truly believe that. Will I be able to meet someone one day and have my own family? I just can't picture my future, no matter how hard I try. I hope Lord Ethan's marriage will be a happy affair as well, but why does thinking about it make my heart ache so? The next day, Ethan asked, What brings you here? Rueli replied, I have a request I must make. I hope you agree to grant it. Please allow me to enter Nothud Mountain. Ethan replied, No, it's dangerous, and it's hunting season right now. You could accidentally get shot by someone who mistakes you for a beast. I'm sure you know better than anyone just how dangerous that place is. Rueli said, I have a close friend I've known since I came to Lorik. Recently, he suffered a severe leg injury on his way back from a hunt. He doesn't have the money to call a doctor, and he's really struggling. Ethan said, I suppose I can't say no a second time, since you barged in here with your boots already on, ready to climb the mountain. Fine, I give you my permission, but I will also be accompanying you, Rueli replied. Thank you, my lord. Like this video. Hit the like button and subscribe for more videos.